you take control. I can feel the paradise before my world implodes. And tonight had something wonderful. My bad.
Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome everyone to our webinar this afternoon, Our Stories, the Many Faces of Mental Illness. I would like to welcome to our virtual stage right now, Miss Anna from Clubhouse International to kick things off.
Hello and welcome everyone. We are so pleased that you could join us today. I see many different countries, different clubhouses, familiar faces, new people. Thank you so much. We appreciate you all being here today. Before we start, I'd like to ask you all to please think, do you know someone living with a mental illness? So often we hear people say, oh, we don't know somebody with a mental illness, or mental illness affects other people, but not me or my family. Statistics show that 1 in 4 families have someone living with a mental health disorder, and 1 in every 25 families have someone living with a serious mental illness. You never know, you may know somebody who's struggling right now and you don't even know about it. I ask that you please keep this question top of mind as you listen to these stories today and think about mental health advocacy. So let's get started. Clubhouse International is pleased to be a founding partner of Mental Health Action Day, a day dedicated to shifting our mental health culture from awareness to action. As we enter the 3rd year of the pandemic and families struggle under the weight of incalculable loss, supporting our mental health is more critical than ever. With feelings of loneliness on the rise and mental health issues affecting an even greater portion of the population, this year's Mental Health Action Day theme is connection. In honor of Mental Health Action Day, Clubhouse International is hosting this webinar that focuses on just that. Connection and community are key components of the success of the Clubhouse model of mental health recovery. Mental illness is a disease like any other disease. It does not discriminate based on age, gender, race, religion, or economic status. Better understanding and helping people living with mental illness is a crucial goal of our times. The subject of mental illness is sensitive and taboo, yet so relevant. That is why we are here today. As part of our theme of connection, we are here to talk about the amazing efforts of several young adult mental health advocates who are taking what they learned during a practicum course at the University of Notre Dame in Indiana, in the United States, and applying it to their careers and personal lives. We will also hear about a cool memoir writing project that paired university students with Clubhouse members at the local clubhouse in South Bend, Indiana. The project highlighted the power of connection, helped end isolation during the pandemic, and highlighted the power of hearing and learning from the voice of lived experience. Both students and Clubhouse members were changed by their partnership. Today, you will hear from a Clubhouse member and from several students, current and former students, and about how their perspectives of mental illness changed after the course and the project. First, I'll briefly share about the work of Clubhouse International. We are a global mental health nonprofit. Our holistic focus is to end social and economic isolation for people living with serious mental illness via a community-based approach to recovery that has proven to work in communities around the world. We have a network of 325 clubhouses in 32 countries. Approximately 100,000 people access a clubhouse each year. During today's webinar, you will hear about one of our clubhouses, the Clubhouse of St. Joseph County, which is located near the University of Notre Dame in Indiana. Each clubhouse offers a safe, welcoming environment where people living with mental illness, called members instead of clients or patients, that's a very important distinction, work side by side with staff to run the day-to-day operations of the clubhouse. All members are provided opportunities for recovery via employment, education, wellness, friendship, and so much more. We see every day that this helps members grow confidence, build life skills, and find their inner strengths. Clubhouse International is recognized by the World Health Organization as a person-centered, recovery-focused model that works everywhere in the world. We are a recipient of the Conrad N. Hilton Humanitarian Prize the world's largest annual humanitarian award presented to a nonprofit organization that has made extraordinary contributions towards alleviating human suffering. If you visit a Clubhouse, and we hope that you will one day, there'll be a link to our directory in the chat, you will see a vibrant community hard at work, and you will see that recovery is possible. While we have a lot of ground to cover during this upcoming hour, we all know that there is so much more to be said and done for people living with mental illness. Thank you so much for being here, and we will share our email addresses at the close of the session, so please feel free to reach out to any of us following. I am first going to introduce Lisa Anderson, and then before our other panelists speak, we will introduce them. So it is my pleasure to introduce Lisa Anderson. Lisa is a mental health advocate with a background in mental health and career counseling. Lisa is a founder of the Clubhouse of St. Joseph County, Indiana. She volunteers at the local NAMI and teaches the seminar at the University of Notre Dame focused on building relationships and helping students learn about what it means to live with a serious mental illness. I've had the pleasure of getting to know Lisa over the past few months, and I am so inspired by her dedication to changing the dialogue and perception around mental illness. So thank you, Lisa. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Anna. What a privilege to be here. Thank you for your passion and for inviting each of us to share our stories. It's truly an honor to be here with you. All of us who are participating today, really hope that by sharing our stories and the work that we've been doing, that others can find hope and healing. We want to encourage everyone joining us to think about ways that you yourselves can be a voice for healing and a voice for positive change in the lives of those who struggle with mental illness. Truly, even the smallest of actions can have a healing effect, and we'll speak a bit about those. The reality is that mental health concerns every single one of us. We may not know it, but it does. So we are all in this together. I'll give you a very brief background of my own story, and then I'd like to introduce 6 different people who have been very involved on this journey as well. How did I get involved in this world? I'm a parent of someone who struggles with serious mental illness. And as a parent, I am always looking for answers. I'm looking for ways to help my child grow and become healthy and to live the fullest life that they can live. Many of you listening know that this is not an easy task. You probably also know that as parents, we can be pretty determined to keep looking, keep trying to find help for our loved ones. In 2010, I retired from my regular job and began doing mental health advocacy in a more direct, more concentrated way. At that time, I was asked to develop and teach a seminar through our Center for Social Concerns at the University of Notre Dame that would focus on understanding what it means to live with a serious mental illness, understanding it in a relational way. Many of our students have excellent training in their psychology and neuroscience courses. But until they graduate and are working as doctors or clinics or social workers, whatever work they do, they may not have actually had the chance to have a relationship, to get to know someone who struggles in this way. So Julie Hirsch, I'm sorry, she has another name too, I'm sorry. Julie Hirsch, I will get that in the notes. She's an alum and she came to the university and she herself had struggled with serious depression. She wrote a book about her experience. And she came to the university and said, I would like to fund a seminar like this. So the reason I'm telling you the story is if it hadn't been for Julie's awareness of this need and reaching out and making this happen, we would not be here today. The first seminar was taught in 2012. It's been life-giving to so many people. I have learned a lot in teaching it. Probably the biggest thing that I've learned is that everyone can benefit from coming together and talking about these issues. It doesn't matter if you know a lot, if you know a little. It's a healing process. And learning about the world of mental health advocacy, mental illness, is something that we typically don't take time to do in our daily lives. So having the opportunity to set aside and learn and to share with others has been really very impactful. Very grateful for that. The other thing that I want to share is that when we were starting to, when I was teaching the seminar, I wanted to have students partner with people at our clubhouse. The problem is we didn't quite have a clubhouse yet. We had one in our town and it had to close in 2010. So I became very involved in getting a group of people together to begin a new clubhouse. It happened to be great timing because I reached out to my students in the seminar and I said, there's an opportunity here. Would you like to join us and spread the word and learn about this movement? And so from that, some of the people who are here on our panel today were part of that. And all of the students who are here have been a big part of that seminar. So I don't want to go on a whole lot, but I do want to say that without Julie's impetus to start the seminar, without my work in teaching and getting to know students, without the work with our clubhouse here in town, who have been so supportive, walking the way with us, each step of the way, partnering with us, we wouldn't be here right now. So we're very thankful for that. So we all know that we've been through the COVID crisis. So what typically happens when I teach my seminar is while I'm teaching in the current semester, I'm looking carefully to see who might be a good teaching assistant for the next semester. I did that and I selected 2 teaching assistants. However, when it was time for us to hold our seminar, COVID was in full swing. And of course, we were forbidden to offer the seminar. So what happened was Anna and Louise, who you will meet, decided that, we have to do something. And what can we do? I think we'll come up with a plan. And amazingly, they did. So I'm going to ask Anna and Louise to come on the screen now. And I'd like to introduce you both, and I'll ask a few questions. But I really would like you to take the audience through this process of how did you come up with this amazing idea? And kind of want to know, would you say to other people, yeah, you could do this? I think you would say yes. So Anna Benedict, I'll have you go first, Anna, and then Louise, you can fill in some of the very important details about how the project was actually enacted, and then we'll just talk. So the project is called Our Stories, and Anna is the co-founder of that project. She graduated from Notre Dame in 2021. She majored both in neuroscience and behavior and English creative writing. I will tell you, as a career counselor, this is not a typical combination, and it's been a gift for all of us. She's currently working at as a neuropsychiatric clinical research coordinator in Cincinnati, Ohio. Louise is a co-founder also of Our Story. So this is the team right here, these 2 power women, creative women. So she's the co-founder. She graduated also from the University of Notre Dame in 2021, also majoring in neuroscience and behavior. She is currently an MD, PhD student at the Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri. So Anna, if you would start first, I think would be interesting for our audience to know, we know that COVID came, but how did that idea even enter your head, and what were the first steps? And then how did you convince Louise to say, yeah, it won't be that much work. It's going to be so much fun and so important.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Lisa. Also, I just first off want to say that Lisa is a phenomenal woman and mentor and such an inspiration to us, and has been so essential throughout this entire process. And we are eternally grateful for your wisdom. Yeah. So how did this come about, basically? So like Lisa said, we were going to be TAs for the seminar. Louise and I didn't know each other at this point, but I reached out to Lisa and said, hey, I want to stay involved, and I feel like we have to do something because, the isolation from the pandemic kind of layers on top of itself with the isolation from having a serious mental illness, especially for members, as well as, everyone being inside all the time, and all of your existing social groups and social structures that you're used to having, and that safety net that's there, essentially fell apart for a period of time because you're not seeing anyone. You can't really trust that people are safe to be around. And this was during summer into fall 2020 when, Zoom land was still pretty new, and we didn't know what the end of this story was going to be. And I'd argue that we still kind of don't, but at that point, that arc was still in full swing, and we couldn't really put patterns together at that point. So essentially what I'm saying is that we had to come up with a new way to form connection, since there was, just to help combat that isolation. So we came up with this project to allow people to connect in a new way and to give people something to look forward to. And in many ways, it really was an experiment. But I would argue that it was a pretty successful one, and it's been really fulfilling to see how it's turned out and hear the testimonies from people who were part of it. So as for the goal of the project, we had several goals going into it. The first was to bridge these two communities, the University of Notre Dame, specifically undergraduate students, as well as adults living with serious mental illness from the Clubhouse of St. Joseph County. And many of these students were planning to enter the clinical field, whether that was mental health or pre-med or whatnot. But like Lisa said, we wanted to give this opportunity for them to form this human connection with someone that, in a textbook would be referred to as like a patient or a bullet pointed list of symptoms. And we knew that this was such an integral experience for both Louise and me, taking Lisa's seminar and being able to finally put people to this concept, and to continue to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. The stigma surrounding mental illness, where people with mental illness are seen as one homogenous group and more or less feared because that's the unknown right there. So basically, like I said, we wanted to bridge these two communities with very different life experiences. The second thing that we wanted to do was to write the memoirs of the members in small groups, which Louise can talk about in a little bit, and to create this space for healing through storytelling. Because the process of writing a memoir is kind of strange, because you live every second of every day, 24/7, 365. And how do you make sense of that? How do you put that into a story? Especially when having a mental illness means that your life didn't end up the way that you might have expected it to. So with these memoirs, we hoped that the members could really be proud of how far they've come, and see themselves, as an active character in their own life, as the main character in their own life, and not just this trauma that's happened, but everything that they've done, the friends that they've made, the actions they've taken throughout the span of their lives. And at the end, we hope to have a book that's available for the world to see. So this is the Our Stories book that resulted from this project, and we're really proud of how it came out. And this is available for anyone to purchase. And again, to humanize those with mental illness to the public, and to keep fighting that stigma surrounding mental illness and continue to lessen that fear of the unknown. So yeah, that was kind of our goal going into this project, and I'll let Louise take over, just kind of talking through how it happened.
Hi, everyone. So before I just explain the project, I just want to say, so Lisa asked Anna how she convinced me to join. She did not need any convincing. After I participated in the seminar with Lisa in 2019, I think, I wanted to tell everyone about the Clubhouse model. I was shadowing physicians and telling them about the Clubhouse model, and they did not know. And I thought it was so sad that like a lot of people didn't know about this great thing going on. So when Lisa said, oh, there's this other teaching assistant that has this project, would you be interested in participating? I'm like, yes, of course. And then we got to this point, and it's just amazing. So the way that the project worked is we recruited students from Notre Dame that were interested in participating, and also recruited members from the St. Joseph Clubhouse. And we partnered like 1, 2, or 3 students to 1 member of the Clubhouse, and they met weekly over Zoom. And for each week, we suggested topics of discussion, especially at the beginning when we thought it might be a little hard for them to build a relationship from the start. So then we had some talking points and discussion points that we thought would be interesting in getting that relationship started. But we welcomed the groups to talk about anything that was just a guidance, and they were able to share stories or things they were passionate about as they would like. So, and then we also made it a point to really tell the students that this wasn't a volunteering opportunity, and we did not want them to interview members. We wanted this to be a partnership. We wanted the students to share about their life experiences, as well as hear what their members have had to say, and having like a discussion, a conversation, and also like a friendship building kind of project. Not really like, they were not volunteers, they were not interviewing. They were there to like learn from the members, and the members learn from them. And then during the project, we also held weekly creative writing workshops hosted by Anna, who's amazing and very talented in writing. So that was open to everyone, students and members, very friendly to all abilities. I am not a writer myself, and I was able to participate and, you know, even come up with like good writings from it. So we did that in hopes that it would help everyone participating put their thoughts and life experiences into words. You know, sometimes people, it's hard, like I can speak for myself, it's hard to like put feelings and experiences into words sometimes. So then having those creative writing workshops helped, you know, bring insight and maybe like put some ideas in the members and the students' minds for the project. And then after meeting for a few weeks weekly with their groups, each group worked towards creating a memoir that focused on the life story or whichever life experiences that the member wanted to share. And on top of writing the memoir, members are also encouraged to submit other types of artwork that would that resonated with them, or that like told a story about something that they lived through in their lives. So we had photography, artwork, collages, and all of that. So at the end, we compiled all the memoirs and all the artwork that we had, and we created the Our Stories book that we recently published. We had a launching event at the Clubhouse of St. Joseph County, where the members and the students were able to meet in person for the first time. And it's available on Amazon. I think somebody sent the link in the chat already. So it's just been a great project, and I was really glad that we were able to still build that connection, even with, you know, everything that was going on.
Yeah, thank you, Louise. So I was telling a friend of mine that if you read this book, you hear about this project, you know, it looks kind of straightforward. There were a lot of hills and valleys, bumps along the way. The thing that I want everyone to know, and the only regret I have about the shortness of time that we have here, is that I wish that we could introduce you in person to every one of the Clubhouse members who shared their their memoir. It's not an easy thing to do. They were partnering in a way they wanted to get the word out to other people, so they also are advocates. They became vulnerable in the way that they shared their stories, and it couldn't have happened, without that courage that they had. So, and we couldn't have done it without the support of Mark Buchanan, who is our executive director at the Clubhouse of St. Joseph County, and all the staff. I'm embarrassed. I probably don't know all the people who helped out. I know that Teresa Wardlow helped out. There are probably many people, so I apologize right now for those I'm not mentioning. But truly, this was a large group effort, and so thankful. I'd like to just read the first names of the members who have their stories in this book. I'll read them in the order and that they occur in the book. And I do encourage you, the stories are so moving, I encourage you to purchase the book. Susan, Francis, Rachel, Katina, Leah, Kaylee, Mark, Becky, Jennifer, Jen, Lisa, Cindy, Goldie, Robert, Janet, Greg, Mike, Jennifer, Sierra, Kathleen, Neil, Megan, and John. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And thank you too. I'm going to move on now to two people who are with us that were partners in the project. So I'd like to ask Adriana and John to join us now. There you are, John.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
There's Adriana. Hi.
Hey.
So, oh gosh, how do I introduce you two? I'm gonna introduce Adriana first because she is someone who took the seminar, and as soon as she heard about this project, she was always saying, well, I'm here to help. What can I do? And then it would be a couple months and we'd be behind. The project took longer than we thought. So she was always there ready to help. And she would always talk about how much she enjoyed her partner. Now, I didn't realize at the time that her partner was John. So John and I go way back. How, 10 years, John? I don't know.
Yeah.
A long time. So John was on the founding group, or the, what do we call it? The working group that helped start the St. Joe County Clubhouse. So let me just give you a brief background about John as well. John is a happy grandfather, currently helping to take care of his 2 grandchildren. John has 50 years of experience working in woodworking and electronics. He likes to create art and has authored 2 books, working on a 3rd. Mental health has been a top priority for John for almost 20 years since his personal experience compelled him to examine his focus in life. And Adriana, you're probably not too surprised, is also a student at the University of Notre Dame, or was a student, just graduated with a degree in neuroscience and behavior, with a minor in compassionate care in medicine. And that's something I'm going to ask you to speak a little bit about too, Adriana, about that minor, because it's so unique for our school. And next year, she'll be going to medical school back home in Puerto Rico. So if you two, I know that you have been in such close communication about this, but I would love to hear initially, how did you first feel when, like that first phone call, you're saying, hi, we were matched up. How are you? How did that go? And you're both so friendly and outgoing. I'm guessing it went well, but if you could share a little bit about that with the audience, that would be great.
Yeah,
Okay. Sure. Well, Adriana, it kind of looks like it's our turn, right?
Yeah. It's good to see you, John.
But yeah, so I still remember the first day when we were gonna meet through Zoom. While I was very excited, obviously, to meet you and learn what it means to live with mental illness. I was a little bit nervous, not gonna lie, to meet someone with such a different background. You from California, me from Puerto Rico. We have a big age gap. And so I was just pretty nervous to meet through Zoom, which seems so impersonal to talk about such an important aspect of your life. So I was pretty nervous, but also excited. How about you? How did you feel going into the project?
Well, it kind of didn't seem, today doesn't seem that much different than our virtual video meetings where we were collaborating on this project. It just kind of feels like it used to in a way. Do you remember us feeling, I mean, I was really pretty nervous and anxious as well. And I was going to discuss some very intimate subjects with 3 young people, almost at an age to be my grandkids. Not quite, but pretty close. And at the same time, I was hopeful and grateful for another opportunity to bring attention to mental illness, something I've personally experienced and still am experiencing and working with for many years. Granted, my symptoms are much less now, but I remember them vividly as almost unbearable hopelessness and despair. But my passion to help others on their recovery journey was being given new life by this group, and Adriana and the other students that were part of our group. How did you feel about the first group meetings that we had?
Well, to be honest, I feel like I didn't see you nervous at all. I feel like you're a pretty extroverted person, outgoing person, and you being so open about talking about your journey through mental illness, I feel like that made everything flow way better. And you were so open to like raising awareness about what you went through and getting the word out, that I feel like the fact that you were comfortable about everything helped us feel comfortable with you. And I'm really grateful for that. And I feel like that was just the fact that you were comfortable and so willing to open up with us made everything flow a lot easier.
Well, thank you for that. And I too felt really comfortable sharing my story with the 3 young women who were so eager to learn about the brain and mental illness that they chose to attend college and make it their life's passion and push the envelope of understanding of such a misunderstood condition of the human mind. Adriana, how do you feel our virtual meetings went?
Well, I feel that while the main focus was to focus on the memoir, obviously, and help you write the story, I feel like most of the time we would just catch up and talk about life. So personally, it was my junior year. And so I was going through a lot, MCAT studying, planning about the future, medical school. So I was pretty stressed, to say the least. And so after our first meeting, which I was a little bit nervous, but then I saw how you were so extroverted. I saw our weekly meetings as just a space for us to like, for me at least, and I'm guessing for you and for all my other 2 partners, to like vent off and talk about life and catching up. You would sometimes see me stressed and you would be like, oh, Adriana, I see you stressed. You want to talk about something? So yes, we would talk about write the memoir, but I feel like most of the time it was just catching up, friends. And so our mission of the project seemed to take care of itself just because of our friendship. So I feel like it was easygoing and it was really nice. I really appreciated it.
Well, thank you. I agree that the intimacy of talking about mental illness really opened the doors to us talking about anything. We talked about, we covered ground about, life, love, living, and living in general, which are all healthy mental activities and interests. So not only were we talking about the illness, but we were talking about other aspects of the mental condition that were positive. And that's, all part of the whole package. not just the problems, but the other positive activities that go on in your head.
And John, I'm going to jump in
Yeah.
because I think that's what we heard from most of the other students as well. And it's such a gift that, you go in, you're thinking, oh, we're going to be talking about this, but you end up realizing, okay, we have a lot in common. And when in the seminars that we've done previous years, when we would match people, we actually had the advantage of actually having people fill an application. So we were really matching them. We would match interest and, sometimes ages or, that kind of thing. What was so miraculous about this project is that we didn't have the advantage of being able to do that. So we were just matching people. And even despite that, everyone was so open and just, so what you're expressing, it's not just you. What I want to share with the audience is all of our members and partnerships were very positive. If they weren't, I suppose they would have dropped out or something like that. But so yeah, that's wonderful.
Well, that's good to hear that perspective. And we know we've been working together for a long time, and I kind of felt that, but it's nice to have that reassurance. One aspect of the talks where the direction they went is at that time I was actively one of the wishes that I had expressed to the group when they asked me, what would you want out of life? I said, well, I'd like to find a life partner. I'd like to find somebody that's, special. And so I was looking for a girlfriend, right? And these three young women were so supportive that it gave me more courage to and confidence in that area. And I'm happy to let you know that I do now have a wonderful girlfriend. She and Adriana met last night on Zoom for the first time. So that was really cool. So, we talked about a lot of things. It wasn't all just focused on the illness. It was just focused on life.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing, and we'll come back in the last wrap-up session, and we'll probably have some more questions for you. So anything else you want to say before I move on and speak with Ashley and Michael?
Adriana, we have more to go, but for sure, but we need to monitor the time too. But I don't. I would like to when it's appropriate, I would like to express some thank yous.
Okay, good.
Then for me, sorry, Lisa. I was going to say thank you, John, for this amazing experience and for your patience and sharing your story with me.
Oh,
Thanks.
No problem. It was a joy.
Okay, John, I think you should share your thanks right now.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think that I'd like to thank Clubhouse International for backing this and providing a forum for this type of activity. And I'd also like to thank the College of Notre Dame for focusing on this particular study, as it were. It's so important. But I think most importantly, I'd like to go back and thank all of the members at St. Joseph County Clubhouse for all their wonderful support. And we had 23 authors of the memoirs, and I just feel very fortunate that I was asked to participate in this project online. So I'm eternally grateful for that project, and I'd like to see more members be able to get out and express themselves as well in this fashion. So thank you very much, Clubhouse. You mean a lot to me, and you're in my heart always. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And to that point, actually, John, it's interesting. Several people have spoken with Anna and I about, will you do another one of these? Could we share our story? And so I love the fact that by the first group starting this, that maybe you've encouraged other people to say, hey, yeah, I want to be able to do some of that too. It's important to get my voice out there because often, their voice is not heard. So thank you so much, John. Okay, I would like to introduce Ashley and Michael. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Michael. So it occurred to me that I have known Michael and Ashley longer, I think, than anyone else of the students. And I'm going to tell a quick story about Michael. I hope you don't mind. You have no choice because I'm telling it now. So Michael was in one of the early seminars, and it coincided, as I mentioned, with our startup group to start the new clubhouse in St. Joseph County. And wouldn't you know it, Clubhouse International was having their international conference in St. Louis, Missouri, over the same week that was Notre Dame's fall break. And so I said to my students, I'm working on this clubhouse, and if anyone would like to go to this conference, we'll figure out a way to get you there. I don't know how many students we had in that class, Michael, but he was the only one who raised his hand. And so he joined us for that week. And any of you, I encourage you to go to Clubhouse International conferences. They are amazing. And he went, and he was amazed and moved. And so we're all driving back, and he said, Lisa, I think we should create another course just on Clubhouse. And I was exhausted. And I said, oh, yeah, that's just a great idea, Michael. Why don't you write that up? And he did, of course. And the rest is history, basically. And so for a short while, we had two courses. We had the old seminar, and then we had a seminar that was focused exclusively on the Clubhouse model of recovery. Then we combined the two together, and it actually worked out really well to combine those two courses together. So, Michael, everyone will always be very thankful for your motivation, for your inspiration, and so thank you. Okay, I have to officially introduce you. Okay, here we go. Michael was involved in the creation of the Clubhouse student seminar while he was a student at Notre Dame. He went to Harvard Medical School and is currently a resident physician in psychiatry at the University of California, San Francisco. Okay, Ashley, I won't tell an embarrassing story about you, but what I will tell you is that every time you came to the Clubhouse, Ashley has been very involved with our Clubhouse and many of the activities that we had. People just always kept asking me, when's Ashley coming back? When's Ashley coming back? And I said, well, gee, I don't know. People resonated with you just so immediately. And what a gift you have. So Ashley also took the seminar, was very involved. We were kind of just about opening then, but was involved with our board of directors and coming up with ideas to further the collaboration between the university and Clubhouse. So she's also a graduate of Notre Dame. She became one of my teaching assistants after taking the seminar, and she's currently pursuing an MD, MPP at Harvard. You can tell us what that is later. And she is also the founder of a nonprofit called the MV3 Foundation. So since you two are the only ones really who have been out in the world a little bit since graduating, I'd love to hear a little bit about, your perspective, having learned some of the things that you learned while you were a student, especially Michael being in the field of psychiatry. How do you look back on your experiences? Were they helpful? It's just one small, tiny experience. And what things have you learned that might be helpful for our audience, especially in terms of young adults who are either struggling with mental health concerns and or their family trying to find ways to support them, and that kind of thing. So love to hear from you first, Michael, and then Ashley, we'll move to you.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Lisa. And the story you told really brought me back. And actually, I remember that week when we were in St. Louis at that Clubhouse International Seminar, I was roommates with John in the hotel for a week. So that's our connection too.
There you go.
It's really good to see you again, John. I think, I echo what everyone else said about the value and impact of this course. And maybe I can speak just briefly about, you know, what it's done for me in my life. And I think I'll start by saying that I don't think I would be in the field of mental health as a clinician, as a psychiatrist today without that course, without meeting Lisa and taking that seminar and learning about Clubhouse and working with members. And even if I were in the field of mental health, I certainly wouldn't be the type of doctor or clinician I am today without the understanding that Clubhouse and just getting to know people, you know, on a really personal level first, the people living with mental illness, you know, what that did for me. And I would say that kind of like you said earlier, Lisa, that idea of focusing on a recovery model first, viewing people as whole people before they're even members and certainly before they're patients, is what's really changed it for me. You know, I think the medical model has a time and a place, right? Especially when people are struggling and there's a lot of benefits to it. But it was really impactful for me to just learn about people and their strengths. You know, the first iteration of the course I took was the one back in 2013, almost 10 years ago now. At that time paired with NAMI, or National Alliance on Mental Illness. And similar to the course now in many ways, I was paired with a member of NAMI in the local community there in South Bend. And we just went mini golfing together. I went to the restaurant he was a chef at where he worked, actually in a job I believe he was placed at via, you know, the transitional employment opportunities at the Clubhouse that had been in South Bend. And getting to see, you know, how far one could come in building a full, like meaningful, fulfilling life with belonging in the community through Clubhouse, through NAMI, like through support of friends and family, things like that, was really incredible to see. And that's what I strive to help people I work with now in my role as a psychiatrist reach through resources like Clubhouse and others. So I'll stop there and hand it off to Ashley.
Wonderful. Ashley, I would love to hear, if you feel comfortable, because I know this part of your life, you know, kind of how you got to be where you are now. You know, you went to med school, and I know you were looking at lots of different options, but I just found it fascinating as you always wanting to be like the physician advocate. That's how I see you. And you were thinking, oh, maybe I'll go this direction. Maybe I'll go, you know, this direction. So if you could share a little bit about how you know, ended up basically doing this joint program, and tell us a bit about that program. And what's just so amazing and beautiful is this nonprofit that you have begun. And if you could share a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. So to give everybody context, I've known Lisa since I was a freshman at the University of Notre Dame and took the seminar when I was a sophomore through the advice of Michael, who at that time had led and was very integrated on the Notre Dame campus and with the Clubhouse community. I will say that my journey my journey to medicine was catalyzed in part by my experience learning about the Clubhouse model. To keep it brief, I think in summary, Clubhouse, engaging with the members, learning about the different models, the different communities, allowed me to see the value and the importance of community-based models to tackle really wide scale and very important social and healthcare issues. And so I took, I think, a lot of the experiences, the anecdotes, and the lessons that I learned through being a member of the Clubhouse community on campus as a Notre Dame student and working alongside Lisa and others. And when I got to medical school, I really was curious. I wanted to know how I could have a similar impact on individuals who I think had similar backgrounds as myself, because as a first generation Black daughter of immigrants, I faced a lot of challenges pursuing a career in medical school, and I wanted to make the pathway easier for others who identified as such. And so over the course of my early time at Harvard Med, I had a lot of conversations with individuals, Lisa being one of my key lifelong mentors who I would often get on the phone with and just like shoot some ideas around. And it was after a variety of clinical rotations. So I did psychiatry, I did internal medicine, I explored avenues. I reflected, and the question that it always came back to was, what is a career that would allow me to feel fulfilled as a clinician? So academically, when I'm interacting with patients, but then also as a person, right? A lot of this work that we're all doing is driven by our own, passions, what draws us to really advocating and making a difference in the lives of those we're around. And I wanted to feel that level of fulfillment. I wanted to feel like Lisa does when she advocates and, takes on these leadership roles in the communities. That's what I've been searching for. And so I finally landed on a combination that allows me to, I think, have that balance clinically and then also in the community. And so I decided that internal medicine would be a clinical avenue through which I could be fulfilled academically and still incorporate that advocacy for mental health, because, mental health is ubiquitous across the country, regardless of what career, what community. And so that gave me an opportunity to continue applying the Clubhouse lessons that I learned. And then also I'm doing an MPP, which is a master's in public policy, which allows me to continue pursuing my research interests and also advocate for educational equity for students of color who hope to enter into healthcare and biomedical science. And so that's kind of why I started the nonprofit that I did, to Lisa, your second question, which is the MB3 Foundation, which is a nonprofit that supports Black college students pursuing careers in health and biomedical science. So that's kind of a quick and dirty of how I got here. And Clubhouse was absolutely a catalyst for my own personal and professional growth.
Yeah, so let's see, someone might have to tell me here, I'm getting messages. I know we're short on time. Thank you so much, Ashley. To just journey a bit with you in that process has really been a gift. And I think I hope it's an inspiration to other people who are listening. That's what I have been so blessed by with each one of you here, is that, you're so aware of the wider world around you, and you're passionate and you want to help. You want to be the kind of person that's improving things, that is making lives, better. So I thank you so much. So I think I'm going to ask Anna to step in from Clubhouse International, and you can, I'm not sure how much time we have left, Anna, so maybe you can step in and
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you. We are almost out of time, which I'm so sad about, because I just want to keep this conversation going. If there's one, we're about to run out of time, but storytelling and bringing out the personal story is so important to me. And I've seen the therapeutic process, as was discussed earlier, of writing the memoir, writing your story, and what it does for somebody. It's empowering. It helps you gain confidence. And it's just, that person is such a part. It's my favorite part of the Clubhouse model, is the focus on the person. And I really believe in everyone drawing out their strengths, and Clubhouse allows you to do that. And we don't always see that in life. And it's so amazing to hear from all of you that you have seen this and that you're taking it forward in your careers and personal lives. And I hope that we'll continue. I don't know if anybody wants to jump in quickly and just share maybe how being for other people, young adult mental health advocacy, or any mental health advocacy, how you see that going forward, if there's any tips or ideas or resources that have helped you, things that you think might be helpful. If anybody, Anna or Louise?
Sure, yeah, I can speak on that. So I think, for one, the storytelling aspect, just realizing yourself as the main character in your own life, realizing that you have the power to enact change in what you do, and the life that you live. The other thing too is the importance really of hope in getting yourself through the tough times, and if not hope, then just something on the other side that's pulling you forward. And if you're thinking of your life as a story arc, going back to that kind of theme, that's the theme that's just pulling you forward, and make sure that you don't stay behind while your life just kind of passes you by. The other thing that I would say is that it's just recognize that the people who love you are really there for you, and it might be embarrassing to ask for help, and it might be kind of uncomfortable at first to say like, hey, this thing's been going on for a long time and I don't know what to do with it. But that's what your support network is there for. That's what your friends and your family members are there for. So it's strong to reach out. It's not weak. And the world is better with you in it. And that's kind of what I have to say.
Absolutely. I am so sorry that we are out of time. I would love to hear from so many more of you, and there's so many more questions to ask, but we are out of time, and I want to be respectful of all of our audience. So I'm going to wrap it up, but please, Lynn, if you could share this slide. All of our email addresses are here. Please feel free to reach out with questions, comments, suggestions. We can talk about the course, the project. Please feel free. And the link to the book will be in the chat. We'll also share a link to a resource guide, which has some helpful articles and research papers and books that we hope will find helpful. And just before we wrap up, I am filled with so much gratitude to all of you panelists. I am so inspired by the work that you're doing and the care that you put into the work and your relationships. And I work with people living with serious mental illness every day, and it means so much to have young adults and just thinking about it and weaving it into your careers and your personal lives, and really bringing that awareness to the forefront, taking action, and making this world a better place. So thank you so much on behalf of myself and everybody at Clubhouse International. I'd also like to just quickly thank all Clubhouse members, because as Lisa and John, and I think all of us have said, we wouldn't be here today without all of you. So thank you so much. You show us every day that recovery is possible. The voice of lived experience, I believe, is such a powerful tool in helping us change the world of mental health. So thank you, and thank you for everybody for joining. And we hope to see you at another event. And a recording will be sent out tomorrow following the event. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.